refusal to allow a United States congressman into his country. If you saw my exclusive interview with President Karzai yesterday, you know he's still furious at Republican Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. So you're not going to let him back into your country, Dana Rohrabacher?
Definitely not.
Ever?
Till he changes his stand, till he shows respect to the Afghan people, to our way of life, and to our constitution.
Congressman Rohrabacher is standing by. He'll join us in just a few moments to respond. But first, some background on a feud that played out overseas as well as right here in the Situation Room.
Several of us on the floor of the House.
Dana Rohrabacher was part of a congressional delegation to Afghanistan last month, ready to board a U.S. military plane from Dubai to Kabul. Suddenly, he got a call informing him that President Hamid Karzai wouldn't let him set foot in Afghanistan. It was a stunning turn of events, even more so because Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton went along with it.
She just felt that another mini crisis, which might erupt because Karzai hated me so much, that he would create a crisis, and she just thought it would be disruptive to our ability to get her job done.
And so, we didn't know then, but we do know now, that the Obama administration was then in the midst of delicate negotiations that led to President Obama's secret trip to Afghanistan and the announcement of this cooperation agreement. As a key member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Rohrabacher has asked tough questions about the Afghan government, how it's run, and how it's spending U.S. money. But President Karzai tells me Rohrabacher was interfering in Afghanistan's internal affairs, and he's effectively banned from the country as a matter of principle. And joining us now is Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in. I want to discuss what's going on, but first, to give our viewers the full perspective, here's the entire exchange I had about you and President Karzai in my interview with President Karzai yesterday. Watch this. You said you're not going to let this democratically elected congressman into your country. Why?
A democratically elected congressman of the United States of America should not be talking of an ethnic divide in Afghanistan, should not be interfering in Afghanistan's internal affairs, should not be asking the Afghan people to have a federal structure as against what the Afghan constitution has asked for, should not be speaking disrespectfully about the Afghan people or the various ethnic groups in Afghanistan. If an Afghan did that from Afghanistan, how would you react to him in America?
So you're not going to let him back into your country, Dana Rohrabacher?
Definitely not.
Ever?
Till he changes his stand, till he shows respect to the Afghan people, to our way of life, and to our constitution. No foreigner has a place asking another people, another country, to change their constitution. Have we ever asked the United States to change?
Even after all that America has done for Afghanistan?
But that doesn't give you the right to play with our lives.
And you think he's that dangerous to you?
Not dangerous. It's a matter of principle. International relations are based on certain principles. We are not America. We are Afghanistan.
But there is a concept known as freedom of speech.
The freedom of speech is good. We respect that. But the freedom of speech with regard to other countries is another issue. He has freedom of speech within the United States. We have freedom of speech within Afghanistan. But if an Afghan member of parliament stood up and said the United States should be divided in 5 different regions, would you accept that?
Let's discuss what we just heard with Congressman Rohrabacher. First of all, are you ready to apologize? Are you ready to back away from some of your earlier statements in order that President Karzai would give you a visa to come back to Afghanistan?
Well, I will tell you that if I thought that I was being inadvertently disrespectful to the Afghan people, I would apologize. But I obviously have a deep felt respect for the people of Afghanistan and their courage and their principled behavior. They are tough people who are actually a model of courage in this world. So I respect them. It's Karzai I don't respect, and so I don't think I owe an apology to the people of Afghanistan. And of course, Karzai is a corrupt and incompetent leader, and I certainly owe no apology for trying to get to Afghanistan to do some investigative work.
Let's talk about some of the specifics, what he's complaining about. He says you speak of an ethnic divide in Afghanistan. Is that true?
No, it's not. In fact, what we have now is a constitution that was written by foreigners, I might add, that was modeled for Karzai and his clique. And what it does is put all the power in Kabul, which is consistent with Afghan culture and tradition. And what I've been calling for is for all of the sides, all of the ethnic groups, to get together, have some constitutional reform that, for example, Karzai appoints all the provincial governors. That would be like our president appointing all the governors of the states. That is not dividing the country. That's a federalist approach that will keep the country unified, because you have, as we have in the United States, different people operating at different levels, and the people elect their leaders.
You can understand where he's coming from when we just heard you say right now you believe there should be a change in their constitution. You're not an Afghan, you're an American. You think it should be changed, and so he has a point.
I think that they should be making sure that the Afghans make those changes, and that the power in Afghanistan isn't being held by some corrupt clique. Now remember, I'm the chairman of the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee. I was going into Afghanistan, among other things, not just to talk about perhaps constitutional reforms that they might consider, but I was also going there to investigate corruption on the part of the Karzai administration.
He also says you're disrespectful of the president of Afghanistan, right, namely Karzai. You tweeted this. I'll put it up on the screen. PAC government controls rad terrorist Muslims. Karzai equals puppet, PAC puppet. His centralized regime contrary to Afghan tradition and values. So what do you mean Karzai is a Pakistan puppet?
That's our biggest problem right now, is the Pakistanis, as you are well aware, are financing the insurgencies that we're having to put up with in Afghanistan. Karzai is a long-time ally of the PACs. He was, even before he was in power, these are the people he dealt with. So, yeah, he is overly associated with Pakistan. He is not sitting down with his own people. He's sitting down with the PACs for guidance.
Well, I'm sure he disagrees strongly with you on that. What you're saying is in total disagreement with this new strategic partnership agreement that the U.S. and Pakistan have signed, and also in total disagreement with what we're hearing from the Republican presidential candidate, Mitt Romney.
Well, I don't know what Mitt is saying about it, but I am absolutely opposed to what the president just did. We should be looking for ways to get our troops out of Afghanistan at a quicker pace, not at a slower pace. We shouldn't be committing ourselves to another 10 years of military involvement in Afghanistan. And we could do that if we worked with all of the Afghan leaders, rather than just trying to put all our eggs in the Karzai basket and trying to force everybody to accept his power.
What Governor Romney says is there should be an open-ended U.S. military and financial commitment to Afghanistan. He doesn't like the timelines, if you will, but he's even more aggressive and keep making sure that U.S. troops stay there to bolster that Afghan government and make sure that there's security there. So what I hear you saying is you disagree not only with President Obama, but with Governor Romney as well.
Yeah, I totally disagree with the governor, if that is indeed his position, and I'd like to talk to him about it.
Congressman Rohrabacher, thanks very much for joining us. I suspect the story's not going to die down anytime soon.
Thank you.
A father of three turns into a subway hero. We're talking to him. Stand by for that. And an in-depth look at a possibly toxic problem headed our way.